Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion. And in this video I'll be discussing the prospective IPL seasons of the Royal Challengers Bengaluru and the Rajasthan Royals. Let's get into this preview. Starting off with RCB, I'd said ahead of the mega auction that regarding batting acquisitions, I thought they should look to acquire those players at close to their base price. And we saw many players who either went unsold or were bought for or at their base price. Someone like a Josh Inglis, for example, who I'd say RCB should go for. Now they've bought Phil Salt for 11.5, and the Gujarat Titans bought Josh Butler for 15. And surely, if you're willing to pay 11.5 for Phil Salt, you could have paid 4 more and got Josh Butler since you have the second highest purse going into the auction. So I didn't understand that. And I'd said they should focus on their bowling with most of their money, as if they got the very good players at base price with the adequate backups, then something which they have lacked for a long while is that well-rounded bowling attack to compete at home. And that's why I thought they should have focused on that. And to what extent have they covered that? So looking at the fast bowlers they've got, the only strength I think they've got is bowling in the power play, because Josh Hazelwood can bowl the full lengths up front, as can Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Then you got Nuwan Tushara and Yash Dayal. And out of those four, I feel Nuwan Tushara, as of now, is the best bet to bowl at the death. He can bowl at the start and at the death. They've then got Lungi and Giri, who I don't know why they bought, because given the nature of the surface in Bengaluru, if you bowl slow balls, you'll get hammered. And based on Aizen bowling in the last 2 years, I wouldn't pick him even if the surface was slow. I feel he's not been bowling at the standard to play in this competition. And their spin bowling option, they've got one attacking spinner or someone who can look to go for wickets, and that is Suyash Sharma. I think they bought him for 3 crores. A couple of seasons ago, he's introduced out of nowhere when he's playing for Kolkata, and he did well. He didn't play the previous season, I think. And then in this season, if you're having to make the jump to bowling at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, being the lead wicket-taking spinner is a huge task. And I think they will start him. They may start him because they would want to back him to be their attacking spinner, but very quickly, if he goes for runs in, let's say, the first 3 matches, they may take a course to leave him out and use the spinners that they've got. And looking at those spinners, Krunal Pandya is a very good bowler, but he's a defensive bowler. He's more of a 1 for 30 and 4 of his bowler. And even if he was bowling on a turning track, I wouldn't back him to run through the opposition. And then you got Liam Livingstone, who can bowl wrist spin and off spin. But apart from that, is he someone, and he's been going for runs whenever he's bowled, so is he someone who's going to be a threatening option? No. Or is he going to contain the runs? No. And on signing him, you signed him for 8.75 crores. And when watching live, they were willing to sign David Miller for 7.5. And the moment there was a jump from that value to 7.75, they just said no. And the next signing they make is Livingston. And some people are saying because of age, other people are saying because he can bowl. If you're looking at the age criteria, look at this squad. Which player are they going to retain at the end of this 3-year cycle based on age and on skill? I feel no one, because if there's one retention you can make, it's Patidar. And if you're going to retain one player for a lot of money, you're making a loss, which is why you may as well go with no retentions, than retaining one player for, let's say, 18 crores or so. Suyash Sharma, you're looking at a Yuzvendra Chahal, who is the only wrist spinner really to succeed at such a level when bowling at this venue. And I'm not writing off Suyash Sharma, but expecting a very good output over 3 years as of now, I think it is a bit far-fetched. And it's not his fault. They've picked him and for this challenge. But given the experience levels of now, he didn't play the previous season. When you're bowling in the 7 home matches, you're bowling in Mumbai and in Delhi. 9 matches where you can go for runs a lot of the time, if not all the matches. So I don't know how he's going to recover from that if he doesn't have a good first 8 matches, but I wish him well. And people are saying this batting is destructive. Let's look at the batting. Tim David's not been in form. Liam Livingstone's not been in form either, both those two for a long while. Romario Shepherd, he can contribute with the bat and can bowl 1 or 2 with the ball if need be. However, I wouldn't include him in the core of batsmen. Jacob Bethel, someone who is struggling for fitness, and if he doesn't make it, I feel they should sign a Johnny Bairstow. That's the only way that they should play another overseas batsman at 3, because if they don't sign someone who's at the class of Johnny Bairstow and they play another overseas batsman, it may not strengthen things and you're losing out on other departments. So I feel the only way they should play another overseas batsman number 3 is if they sign someone at the class of Johnny Bairstow. And now looking at the top order, apart from Rajat Patidar and Virat Kohli, which player in this lineup is consistent? No one. Phil Salt's not been informed. Jitesh Sharma is an explosive player. Is he consistent? No. Devdutt Padikkal, a couple of years ago when he was playing for Rajasthan number 3, he did okay on a couple of occasions. He did so. And then they went back to experimenting with his batting position, and the previous year he did nothing for LSG. So how confident will he be playing in this format? I don't know. So now when we're seeing the 11, you'll see the reason why I feel this bowling attack is fairly one-dimensional, and the batting that a lot of people are saying is destructive, it may not be the most reliable. So I've gone with Phil Salt, Virat Kohli to open the batting, Devdutt Padikkal at number 3, Rajat Patidar at number 4, Liam Livingstone number 5, Jitesh Sharma number 6, Krunal Pandya 7, Romario Shepherd 8, Bhuvneshwar Kumar 9, Nuwan Tushara, which would be surprising for a lot of people, at number 10, and Yash Dayal at number 11. Now, they can choose to play Josh Hazlewood ahead of Tushara if they are banking on that 1 for 13 4 performance. I would understand if they do, so they probably will. However, Josh Hazlewood can bowl in the power play, he can bowl in the middle overs, he's not a death bowler. Bhuvneshwar Kumar has gone for runs at the death at times. You can bank on him to bowl at least one good because of his experience, but can he be the lead death bowler as he would have been in the past? I don't think so. Yash Dayal, the previous season, bowled 3 overs in the power play. And Romario Shepherd, would he be able to bowl to death? I don't think so. He's someone where you should not take his bowling to be a given. You've got to, if you can squeeze in 1 or 2 overs, but not bowl him more than that and use his batting, then he can do something for you on a surface like this. But if you're looking for him to bowl the overs when the others have gone for runs, then you're not in a good spot. So if Josh Hazlewood plays, you've got Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Josh Hazlewood, Yash Dayal. How many bowlers can you bowl with the new ball? Because when you're bowling at the death, Josh Hazlewood bowl out before then. And then if you can use an impact sub of a Rafiq Salam or Shreyas Sharma, in that case, Shreyas Sharma can't play if you're looking to back your death bowling. And this may happen if he plays in the first 2-3 games at home and he goes for runs, or I think the first match is at the Eden Gardens, if he goes for runs in those matches as well, then maybe we'll see Rafiq Salam being brought in and they'll manage with Krunal Pandya and Liam Livingstone. So I would start with Nuwan Tushara, maybe the surprise for some, but I feel bowling at the start, you've got already Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Yash Dayal. If you're bowling Yash Dayal for 3 overs, you're bowling Bhuvneshwar for 2. You can bowl Tushara for maybe 1, and you can keep 2 or 3 for him at the death when you don't know whether how the other bowlers are going to go today. And Romario Shepherd added Tim David because Tim David's not been in form no matter where he's gone. And if you've got a Krunal Pandya who's not someone who gift his wicket away easily, has he got that power hitting as much as the others? No, but is he going to play a hack and be dismissed early on? I don't think so. Jitesh Sharma, explosive. Liam Livingstone, explosive. Romario Shepherd, in my view, is going to score as many runs as Tim David's going to score at least. And then he can also bowl 2 overs when you're not too confident about your bowling. So that's why I've gone with him at number 8. And Devdutt Padikkal at number 3. People are saying Jacob Bethel should play at 3. And I said it in the previous segment as well. If you play Jacob Bethel, then you can't play Romario Shepherd. And I think Manoj Bandage is injured as of now. So can he slot in place of Romario Shepherd? Even though you wouldn't want both those two to bowl so much, well, then he would be the one to slot in place of Romario Shepherd. But if he's injured, he won't be able to do that. Then you've got a Sopnitz saying where your batting would take a hit if he plays ahead of Shepherd. So that's why I would say going with the local slot, a left-hander at number 3, then that opens up options. And as I said before, if you take out one of Virat Kohli and Rajat Patidar, and if you're chasing, let's say, 190, since people are saying there's a destructive batting lineup, how many players there can you bank on to play a long innings and get the job done? I don't think there are any. So, which is why we're looking at this team. I don't think they are in as bad of a situation as others. For example, in previous videos, I think some teams have done a very poor job. I don't think this team is at that level. And I think they could compete for about that 4th place at best. For 4th, 5th, they'll be competing with others because it'll be very touch and go. If one or two key players don't perform, one key player doesn't perform, I don't think this team will qualify. It looks a very unreliable team at first glance. So that is that. In terms of backups, you've got Rasik Salam or Suyash Sharma who can be an impact sub. Apart from that, after one of the lead bowls, you're not got any backup. Manoj Bandage is someone who's more of a batting all-rounder. He doesn't bowl as much. So if you have to rely on his wrist spin, does he bowl wrist spin or pace? I don't know off the top of my head, but he doesn't bowl that often, even in his domestic league in the KPL. So if you have to rely on his bowling and not on a great space, and then you got the inexperienced just Swastik Chikara. So overall, I think this team can, because of the standard of some of the other teams, they can look to push for qualification, but one or two players not fine, I don't think they'll make it. Now for the Rajasthan Royals. Now the previous 3 years, it's a great surprise to me that they didn't manage to win at least once. They got to the final the first year. Then they went off the rails in the second season after doing so well. Then they effectively went off the rails in the previous year because they lost momentum. And you had the players where we've seen Mumbai Indians, Delhi Capitals after the previous auction cycle where they've been saying, right, we've established the best squads, and yet the mega auction, you had to release a few very good players. Same thing for Rajasthan Royals, but I feel they had the opportunity to retain more of their core. They didn't retain Chahal. They didn't retain Butler. And in their place, very surprisingly, you've retained Shimon Hetmeyer and Dhruv Jurel. Shimon Hetmeyer, 11 crores, I thought was a very high price for him. Dhruv Jurel, when they didn't give an opportunity as much the previous year, he didn't do much either when he got the opportunity. So very confusing retentions. And you're comparing the bowling of before to this. Before you had Nandre Berger, Trent Bolt, R. Ashwin, and Jaswinder Chahal. Then you had Avesh Khan as well. In this case, I'd said in before the mega auction that they've got to be smart given their purse, 41 crores. And they selected Fazalak Faruqi, which I thought was a good signing, at 2 crores. I thought those are the kind of players at base price that they have to select after going big for maybe one player. Then what they've done here is they've got Jofra Archer, Fazalak Faruqi, and they've got Quena Mapaka as another fast bowling backup. But where I thought they especially should have done better was their spin, because Waindu Asaranga and Mahesh Tikshana, they've tried to replace R. Ashwin and Chahal. Are those two at the class of R. Ashwin and Chahal? No. And the greater concern is they're injury prone. We've seen in the Sri Lankan setup, whether it be spinners or fast bowlers, they've been getting hamstring injuries frequently. And in the New Zealand series, before the mega auction, Hasaranga didn't play, I also think, because of a hamstring injury. So the strength and conditioning has been very poor. So am I backing those two to play a full season? No, if they don't play a full season, the only other Indian spin bowling backup you've got is Kumar Kartikeya, who's played the IPL before. So really, I don't quite understand what they've done there. You had an Adam Zampa, I think, for 2.5 or 3 crores, and then you get Mahesh Tikshana for 4. I really didn't get that. Mahesh Tikshana is a good bowler, he's an economical bowler. Adam Zampa can pick wickets and also not give too many runs. As you've seen, Waindu Asaranga, since the T20 World Cup, he may pick wickets, but he's gone at least 9.5 and over. So that's something where I feel looking at the bowlers in the side, whether it be spinners or fast bowlers, they would struggle to contain the runs, although they may pick wickets on it. And they picked the 13-year-old Vaibhav Suryavanshi. Some people saying he won't get to play, but in my view, he may get to play because who's the backup for Nitish Rana on the side? He's been injury prone. I don't. There's Kunal Singh Rathore, then there's Vaibhav Suryavanshi. Suryavanshi is a left-hander, as is Nitish Rana, and I feel he can bat at number 3. So there is no one that you've got as a backup for someone who has been injury prone in the last couple of years. So I didn't get that either. They've got a fairly thin squad, not many backups outside of that, because outside of, and I'll go through my 11 now, and that would become more apparent as to why I feel this team would struggle this year. So I've gone with Sanju Samson, Yashasvi Jaiswal to open the batting, Nitish Rana number 3, Shimron Hetmeyer 4, Riyan Parag 5, Dhruv 6, Manindu Asaranga number 7, Jofra Archer 8, Tushar Deshpande 9, Mahesh Tikshana number 10, and Sandeep Sharma at number 11. So looking at this side, as I said, you're looking at that top 6. They are talented, but before the mega auction, I said if you take out Josh Butler from this team, who's that player is going to scare you? Maybe Jaiswal's getting there now because he's someone who can play aggressively with consistency. Is Sanju Samson consistent? No. Nitish Rana, if he's not plagued by injury, he can be consistent. When you got Shimon Hetmeyer, is he consistent? No. Riyan Parag stood up the previous year. Hopefully he can do that again this time. Didn't do too much the previous year. So you've got a talented top 6 with a responsibility you don't know. And people are saying you could bring Shubham Dubey as an impact sub. What I'm saying is they'll be banking on Manindu Asaranga is not a mug with a bat. Jofra Archer can swing the bat. The Tushar Deshpande has been scoring heavy runs for his domestic side, Mumbai, in the first-class circuit. So if those 3 go well at the end, then you would not need to bring in a Shubham Dubey, and then you can bring in an Akash Madhwal with the ball in that case, or if it's a turning surface, you can hit Kumar Kartikeya. However, whether you bring in Shubham Dubey or an Akash Madhwal, are those 2 match-winning impact subs? No, they're not going to really strengthen things too much. They don't have a backup outside either, because you're outside of the top 6. You've got Suryavanshi, Kunal Rathore, there's Shubham Dubey, there's no one else. Fairly unproven commodities for those 3, however good they may be. So I thought they should have paid a bit more attention to that. And for the spinners, you've not got a backup. You've got Kumar Kartikeya as an economical bowler. He can bowl a bit of off spin and wrist spin, but I don't think he's someone who's going to run through you as an opposition side. And what I would have done is, instead of paying 4 crores for Mahesh Tikshana, I thought the Indian spin bowling all-rounders would have gone for 9 crores or so, but they didn't. They went at about 3. And if they had got a Tanush Kotian as a backup for a Washington Sundar or a Sai Kishore, what they could have done was you play one of those 2 ahead of Mahesh Tikshana, then you can play Fazalak Farooqi as a second overseas fast bowler. Things will look better for you, because Tushar Deshpande can take wickets, he can go for runs. Jofra Archer off late has been going for runs. Manindu Asaranga can go for runs. Sandeep Sharma can use his experience. However, he can pick up injuries as well. Outside Sandeep Sharma, what backups you've got? You've got the impact sub Akash Madhwal, or you've got Yudhvir Singh. I wouldn't want to go there and saying that he'd be a backup for Sandeep Sharma. So you've not got batting backup, you've not got bowling backup. And that's why I feel a team that has established a great core the previous 3 years surprisingly didn't win it. They have jeopardized that core from their retentions. I thought they'd let things go. And I don't think that they will qualify, because you've got 3 injury-prone bowlers already, if you consider Jofra Archer, and another injury-prone player in Nitish Rana. If Vaibhav Suryavanshi, I think he can play. If he doesn't do as well and be a lot on his shoulders, if he doesn't do well, if Nitish Rana is injured, then have you got anyone else? No, which is why I'm saying this team I don't think will make it, but let's see how they go. If you enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. Remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?